I asked you guys to create your ultimate Cleveland baseball hitter. You could only use a player once, and I gave you guys 6 different categories. Batting stance, which is really just your favorite batting stance. Contact, power, approach, base running, and the clutch gene. Now, you can use any player that ever played for Cleveland baseball to create your perfect Cleveland baseball hitter. If you're in the chat listening, please drop your versions of this. We'll read some at the end if we have time. But each of you 3 gave us your combination of the perfect Cleveland hitter. And Tyvis, I want to start with you, my friend.
So the first thing we did was stance? I want Albert Bell's stance because I want not just the fact that it's his stance, but I went with him because I want that intimidation. Yes.
All right. Franmil Reyes.
That's my curve.
Oh, my God.
He couldn't hit a curveball.
That's my boy. I'm not leaving Franmil off. I text Mike this morning. I went back and forth with it.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Franmil, when he hit the ball, because it's not about, hit. We expected everything to hit. We talking about the power of the hit. When Franmil hit that ball, it was out of there. It was gone. He got
Windmill Reyes.
He got.
He doesn't even have a job right now. He's out of baseball.
So what? He got some of the longest home runs in Guardian/Indian history.
All right.
So he got like 4 of them up there, actually.
I mean, the rest of the list is, probably the same guys that everybody else is going to have.
Yeah, probably. But,
Go ahead.
My Franmil one, I'm not leaving Franmil off. He was the best thing that happened to the Columbus Clippers for the 1 or 2 games that he was there.
I think everybody might have Kenny Lofton at base running.
Oh, yeah, you got to.
I'm curious on the Omar Vizquel approach.
Yeah.
I like him. He's a very good player to me. When you think about plate discipline, I thought he batted well. I thought when you get there, you need to have the good eyes and all of those things. So I went with Omar Vizquel. What's wrong with that?
I'm just asking.
I'm not, because you question it like
I'm just asking.
Why, you wouldn't have picked him?
No, I did not pick him. He's nowhere on my list.
He's not on my list.
You know what? You forget about.
Did anybody have Jose Ramirez on a list?
I did.
I did not have Jose.
So what I was gonna do is I was gonna use him for stance.
Okay.
But I said I'm gonna go with Albert Bell.
Well, all right. Who's next, Mike?
That's a good lead-in because
Jason,
I did use Jose for stance. Okay. And what I really wanted, if you ask me like whose swing in Indians history do I admire the most, it's Manny Ramirez. Manny had the most beautiful swing I've ever seen of anyone in a Cleveland Indians jersey. But for clutch, I mean, I believe he's still the postseason leader for home runs, I think. So there is no more clutch than that. When you've hit more home runs in the postseason than anybody in the history of the game, you get my clutch vote.
I think we have all this. We have 5 of the same 6 guys, but I think we have them in some.
I told you guys were similar, but I want to hear.
Wait, he got somebody different up there. Let me see that.
So the reason, well, Robbie. I mean, Robbie's one of the greatest.
I got him on my list.
He's a Hall of Fame hitter. I had Robbie for contact. Stance for Jose. I since I couldn't use Manny for stance, I went with Jose because anyone that small who can hit the ball like he can, how can you not admire that and appreciate that? Plus, I want to get Jose on the list.
That's exactly why I did it. That's what I took him off.
Tommy has the longest home run in team history. He hit one 500 and some odd feet into the trees. So how can you not for power? Loft is pretty self-explanatory for base running. And for approach, Albert Bell, nobody studied pitchers more than Albert. Nobody had a better eye at the plate. Nobody knew balls from strikes better than Albert. He kept note cards on pitchers. He was well before his time in scouting reports and doing it all himself.
He did all that?
So that's why.
I want to put him as approach for me, too.
Obviously, you could put Albert in a bunch of different spots.
I think I just flip-flopped Tommy and Bell.
Oh, really?
Power and approach. I think, right?
That's so funny. I'm glad I switched
Take it, Steve.
But look at my swing. My stance, Julio Franco.
I forgot about Julio.
How do you leave out Julio Franco?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's funny.
And you know what? Oh, man, now you're bringing it all back. Mike Hargrove for stance, the 20-minute rain delay, the human rain delay.
Now, Julio Franco didn't play for the Indians very long. I think it was like a year or 2.
No, he was here.
Was it that long?
Yeah, he was here for and then he came back. At like 52,
That's
he
true.
came back and played again.
Contact same as you, Roberto. Base running same as you, Lofton. Clutch same as you, Manny.
Yeah.
I just flip-flopped Tommy and Bell with the power and approach.
That's funny.
They both could go. I mean,
everybody
Bell, Tommy, and Manny could go in any of those, and contact was. I considered Jose for approach.
Yeah.
I considered Jose for a few different spots, but ultimately I left him out.
You could actually consider Jose for base running because I think he's one of the smartest base runners.
I thought about it.
He rarely gets caught stealing.
Yes.
I
mean, obviously Kenny's a slam dunk.
Yeah. You could have put Jose in almost all of those categories. but I ultimately left him out.
We have two
Lindor didn't make
submissions
it?
from the
That's
chat
so
real quick I
funny.
want to read for you guys.
Yeah.
Tequila Mockingbird submitted his. Batting stance, Jim Tomey. Contact, Stephen Kwan.
I thought about
Power,
him.
Albert Bell. Approach, Michael Brantley. Base
Brantley's a good
running,
one.
Kenny Lofton. And clutch, Carlos Baerga.
I actually want Baerga was my favorite player growing up. I loved
Yeah.
Carlos
I
Baerga.
like
Why didn't you
I
put him
wore-
on there?
Well,
I
'cause
put Fran Mill on there.
there were better options. I wore number 9. Like I loved Carlos Baerga.
Have you? I'm sure you've met him plenty
Oh,
of
yeah,
times,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
He is such a nice guy.
Yeah, he is. He is.
played in a charity softball game with him. We were on the same team. It was so fun. He was great.
Yeah, yeah. He's in a role where he's sort of front facing for the organization now
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
community relations and that
Right.
sort of thing. Charity softball games. That's
Yeah.
right up his alley. And it's a shame. You
Yeah.
know, when they moved on from him, I think they felt like he was too much into the partying life at the time.
He said he was in tears.
Yeah.
He was heartbroken.
I think it
I'm disappointed.
blindsided him, but they moved on at the right time.
I'm disappointed in y'all too.
What?
Cause y'all picked the people that you supposed to pick. Y'all.
I mean, Franmil Reyes.
That's right. You telling me when he hit it wasn't go? Out of there.
We have
The
one more
five-time-
submission, and then we could get back to the
Yeah.
Franmil situation.
Yeah.
Divergent said Tomey for the swing, Lofton for his speed on the bases, Albert Bell with the clutch gene, Baerga for contact, and Sandy Alomar for the approach.
I mean, by the way, Michael Brantley's a good one that I didn't really think about.
I
He
forgot
could have
about
been
Brantley.
approach or
Yes.
contact.
Yes, he could have been approach for sure.
23.
Trying to
You
think
could
of
have
the others.
Lindor in the mix there too. You could have.
I thought about
Ramirez.
Frankie,
Yeah.
but I want to go with Jose.
Yeah, because y'all wanted to go with the obvious choices.
What about Paul Kia Sorrento?
I have another exercise for us. So we're going to do this for pitchers another
Eddie
day.
Murray left out. Go
But
ahead.
CC Sabathia?
let's do it in reverse. Let's create the worst all-time Cleveland
God.
baseball hitter.
There's a lot of.
Worst batting stance. And chat, we're going to use
Did I
some of your
just
answers
put Austin
here.
Hedges? And
No,
Miles
I
Straw?
knew you was gonna go there.
So who would
They're both
the
on the
weirdest,
list.
worst is objective, but who had the weirdest batting stance?
Miles
you can remember?
Straw.
Jerry Willard, I feel like back in the
remember
day,
his
he was a
batting
backup
stance.
catcher in the 80s, and I feel like he had a really awkward, wild stance. I mean, you could put Julio for the worst as well. You could put Mike Hargrove for the worst. Human rain
I
delay.
can't think of.
So a couple
Bad
from the
batting
chat real
stances.
quick. Coco
Yeah.
Crisp, Jason Kipnis, Ken Keltler.
For worst batting stance?
Yes.
Coco Crisp did have a weird looking
He was a
batting
little
stance.
weird.
I like Kipnis.
Kipnis
I
is
actually
fine.
considered Kipnis for the best batting stance.
Yeah, Kippy. I don't remember Ken
Yeah.
Keltner. That was before my time.
Yeah.
All right, so worst contact hitter you've ever seen play for
Austin
the Guardians.
Hedges.
Franmil Reyes.
Hey, that might be true.
Windmill Reyes. Worst contact.
I'll say Hedges for contact and Franmil for approach. Power is Miles Straw.
Power is Miles
That's
Straw.
why it's by category.
So
Pop.
someone
Actually,
said in the chat,
Tommy
worst contact.
Henzo for power. He had less power than Miles Straw. You remember Tommy
I
Henzo?
do not remember
Tommy Henzo was a backup infielder in the 80s. Second
Yeah, but
baseman.
in those days, like, there
Second
were actually
baseman.
guys who didn't have power.
Tommy Henzo is like smaller than me.
Oh, man. Go ahead.
Someone said in the chat, worst swing, Tyvus in softball.
Oh,
Tyvus
First of all, my swing actually was critiqued. Actually, it was evaluated by.
Tyvus, I said it. It wasn't the chat.
I was trying to protect my boy.
My swing was evaluated by who we have on the show that day. It might have been Carlos. He looked at it and said he said your swing is actually really good. See that? So y'all better
You're the
y'all
only
pay
one that
homage.
remembers that.
Listen, wait a minute, Anthony. Game on the line. The championship on the line.
Here we
It's
go.
a runner on third. I'm going up against a lefty named Silk. He do this funky kick thing. Knocked it. Boom. Brought him in, won the game, went on to win the championship. You better pay homage, bro.
by the way, if he was a left.